Instead of the bass.
I mean, I don't know.
I can't do that. On the good side, I don't need much drums in my drums.
Yeah.
It might be isolated as heck.
But I'm not in doing it.
Yeah.
What up? What up? So, thanks, Shane. Dude, what's up, bro? I haven't talked to you in a minute. Yeah, the countdown is boredom at its finest. Yeah. What is up, y'all? Who has pre-ordered a ToneX? I'm just curious at this point. ToneX One specifically. Anybody? What up, guitar boy? How's your old Monday? It's Monday. Sorry about that. Yeah. My Monday was full. My week's been full. I've not been active in a minute, but I'm going to change that this week. I'm going to get back to the grind, making videos and stuff. But I want to know how many of y'all have pre-ordered that ToneX. Yeah, it's sold out for sure. But you can pre-order it. I think the next shipment's around May is what they're saying. So I think for me, I have a few thoughts on this. One is like I have the ToneX, dual ToneX running ToneFactor right now with the DISO Plus Pinstripe, kind of like the staple what everyone's pretty much got on their boards nowadays. But I'm tempted, and here's why. Hang on. So I was messing around with this. Now, this is my second ACS one. It's not even my first. I sold it and then I regretted it as soon as the XR IRs came out. So I tried that, and the ToneX Captures by ToneFactor still won it for me. And that's just my opinion. That's what my ear was hearing. Anyways, so this used to be on my board, just the ACS one. And then I had I didn't have a DISO, or I still don't know how to say it, but let's just call it a DISO. I didn't have a DISO Plus yet. I had something else. And I was running that underneath my board, underneath the hood there. And dude, I loved it. It was awesome. It was awesome just to set my board down, kind of like the Helix players. I mean, you set it down, you plug it in, you're good. Like, you're done. Power, XLRs, done. And I was like super jelly because I was running a bunch of like exterior cables. Now, so I went to this. Actually, I had the Iridium, put that on my board. Then I went to this. Then I got a DISO, whatever. I got the Pinstripe pedals, put that on there, and it was awesome. So I love just showing up, plugging in, take it out of my case, boom, plug it in, done. Like, for once as a guitar player, I felt like I was kind of waiting on everyone else, which is like super rare. Anyways, so then I did my board shift or rewire, which we're going to talk about swapping and stuff, or what I would like to talk about. And I ran out of room. I chose different pedals, a little more real estate, so I had to move some stuff around. I'll show you. So right there on the left, in the left side of this little column is, yeah, okay, you can see it. The Browne, Protein, and then the Daily Driver. Well, those take up quite a bit of space. So I have this old output junction by Goodwood, which, by the way, I'm now a partner with. So if you ever want cables made or anything, you just click the affiliate link. I get a very, very, very small commission. It helps, trust me. Every little bit helps. For instance, I got a new camera. It's over here. I'll show you in a minute. So everything, I'm trying to like do a better job at like managing how to make all this just better. But anyways, so if you look on right here, these 4 cables and like a couple right here and a couple on the top, those are all Goodwood custom cables. They have a really good, reasonable price. You can go build out your cables all you want. Anyways, I get a very, very small bit if you just use the link, and you get apparently a discount. So you get a little discount, and yeah, the rest is kind of history there. All right. With that all being said, okay, actually now that we're on cables and a little bit about pedal swapping, that Browne protein is run in split mode, which means the green side and blue and green side act independently. Very, very interesting run of cabling. It's a TRS into each side of the protein with a TS, or so just a mono, into the send and return into the RJM here. Anyways, so that's how I decided to run it, and I ran out of space. And it was cool because the ToneX, right when I was like running out of space, the ToneX came out. I was like, cool. I really don't want to try it. Right as soon as I got all my stuff like dialed in and good for me, things just, the market changed and just, yeah. Anyway, so it's actually underneath the desk right here. I'll show it to you. Hang on. I don't know if that's working or not, but anyways, this is the most I can move the camera. So anyways, you can see I got a little, there it is. I got a little board, and over there on the left is another DISO. Anyway, so I have to put this somewhere on the platform, run that cable over to that, or over to my board. Not really a problem. Actually, I like it a lot. It keeps my board and then like my amp output stuff separate. So I like it. But man, the ToneX One came out, and here's the thing. I had a hot take on these things when they came out, and I bought them. They sounded amazing. There's no two ways around that for sure. But okay, if you just look at it, all right, it's the same size as a Strymon pedal. Like it's the exact same size, which drives me nuts because Strymon has found a way to make MIDI in, MIDI out on it. Power, okay. Expression pedal jack. Also, stereo in and stereo out. Same size, same amount of buttons, almost the same amount of knobs. However, the ToneX is mono in, stereo out. So if you do have a stereo signal from your board, you do have to buy 2. And I was like, hey, Strymon, I know you're watching, and I know you know how to fix this. All right, because these things are running $3.99 a pop. So to run Tool, you got to drop $800 plus tax. And plenty of us did it. For those of you that held out and waited for something like the ToneX One, which, let's be honest, you were not expecting the ToneX One. Just be honest, you weren't. None of us were. The size and the price point. Anyways, you run out of room, man. And those things sound amazing. But if they could have had a stereo in, I mean, that would have been hard. Like that would have been hard for anyone to compete with. But they opened the door, man. They opened the door. So it makes me wonder if they know something or knew something or heard something, which the industry, they all talk to each other. They all know each other. And they had to do something different to save room for the next thing. So anyways, I'm curious. Does the ToneX One devalue the standard ToneX pedals in any way? Like if you were going to sell those, would they go as high used price now than before? Or you know what I mean? Would they have been the same whether or not the ToneX One came out, or is it now the used price for those lower? Anyways, think about that, get in the comments. But I liked this. So I made this separate just in case I wanted to do some videos for with the XRRs, and I just couldn't. The ToneX captures kept just winning me back. So I just kept this around. This is like my second one. I thought about selling it, and I was like, well, I don't want to make the same mistake twice. You just never know. Again, stereo in, stereo out. This one, stereo in, stereo out. The big ToneXs couldn't do it. I don't know why. Couldn't figure it out. But here's why I say this, because a couple of things. I really liked having everything on my board. Now, if you look at my board right now, which I can maybe switch the view in just a second, but here we go. I'll do it right now. So if you look on the left side there, I have a little gap there. I have a little space. And yeah, I'm debating it. I'm strongly debating it. And it's like it doesn't do anything for me. Now, I did watch Tone Shepherd. If you're watching, I watched that Tone Shepherd video of him comparing the two. And there is, I mean, ever so slightly less latency with the ToneX One, so the smaller ones, than with the other ones. So it just makes you wonder if it's worth it or not. Anyways, let me know, or you put your opinion in there. I'm curious. It looks too simple. Granted, I'm old school, so I like a few knobs. Dude, I'm with you. But if you look right there, and the output wouldn't be there, I would use a DISO or DISO in place of it. But I've paved the way for that to maybe happen. Now, with that being said, I am 100% happy with my setup. I don't think I really need to change anything, but I'm just debating it. I gain nothing but a little bit of convenience out of it, because right now I have to put this big, like I call it a vertical board, but because it's like, you know, it's like vertical, more vertical, you know, it's got a hood or whatever. I have to lug that in a big case that is tall enough. It's not a problem, actually. It's lighter than the old one. And then I also have to take my guitars, obviously, but there's not enough room for the ToneX board in that case. I mean, barely. It's just barely. So I have to carry another little bag. But I'm with you. The ToneX One almost does look too simple. Now, I do like having an LCD screen. That way I can just look and immediately see, oh, you know, I got whichever profiles, and just whatever I'm feeling, I can just click and be done. So now that I'm thinking about it, now that I'm out here thinking about it out loud, maybe I won't do what I'm thinking about doing. But I did like, if you look on the left, I do like the Browne and the daily, the way it's oriented, because you'll like this. If I power off my board, and maybe you all know a workaround on this. All right, so you might hear an audio pop, but I'm going to power off the board. Check it out. Okay, so everything's off. I want you to see something. When I power this thing back on, and this happens every time, if you look at the Browne protein, the white pedal, the lights don't come on, so I have to physically turn those on every time I play. Well, the way I had it, if you have seen the other streams or have seen my board, like on videos or whatever, it's been on the left, and it's been oriented like, kind of like the daily driver. So it's been on its side, like this, and actually further away. This is hard to do, hard to point on a camera. And so I have to lift the hood to hit the buttons. And those are the only two things I ever had to turn on. Everything else would come on its own. So watch. Powering on. Sorry about the pop. All right. Everything else comes on. Daily driver, everything's got lights on, except the protein. I have to physically turn those on. And now they're on. Anyways, now I can turn those on. I can just slide my fingers in there and just turn them on without having to lift the hood. It's the little things, man. Come on. You know how us guitar players are. It's the little things that count. Anyways, so who's getting one? I'm just curious. Or who's going to pre-order one or get one maybe a little bit later? They're no doubt. They are legit. They're good. No doubt. They sound amazing in that little thing. And I mean, if it saves room, I mean, I just don't know what you do with the other ones. I mean, I guess you sell them, and I don't know who would. Now that those are on the market, I don't know who's going to go. I have to have those and not the ToneX One. That's where I'm at. If they're looking at used, why wouldn't you just buy the ToneX One? Because money's always a factor. It's got to be. Anyway, seriously, I want to know. I want to know what your take is on that. Y'all are probably smarter than me on that sort of stuff. All right. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Got a little something going on here. I need to know what's best between the Boss. Yeah, dude, I'm getting old, man. Like, I had to turn the brightness on this thing. I couldn't read the comment. I need to know the best between the Boss, ToneX One, ACS One, Iridium, and the big ToneX. Y'all get in that one. First off, Noise Rider, I'm with you. I'm assuming you know the difference between the ToneX One and the ToneX. Obviously, the ToneX has a screen and it tells you like the exact values of everything. Now, the workaround on that, if you're really nerdy with it and you want to dial it all in, you can do the same thing with the ToneX One and just have it plugged into the computer and dial it in perfectly. But sometimes on the fly, I like to know my values of things. It helps me with my A/B testing. So I'm with you. I think you're actually convincing me to just keep with what I got. Either way, I'm glad I changed the orientation of that. Hyena, if anyone wants to get in there, answer his. I can also weigh in. I have my own opinions. I've tried all of them. Even the Boss. Now, with that said, even though I've tried all of them, I think what would be helpful is talk about like the order of effects. I think the Iridium was first. Pretty sure out of that bunch. Break the mold. Dude, the Boss ain't bad. I have my own opinion about it. But it is not bad. None of them are bad. The Iridium was first, I'm pretty sure. The Boss was right behind it. Then the ACS One. And then the ToneX. The OG is the Kemper, let's be real. Now that Kemper is actually closer to the ToneX, or vice versa. The way they work. The way they work. Anyways, the Iridium was first, so it's like the first iPhone. Like, it's going to have its own little kind of problems and stuff. So I had a ton of updates. That is stereo in, stereo out. However, you only get one amp, 2 cabs. So you can change the amp, but it changes it left and right if you're running stereo. It changes it left and right. It's the same amp left and right. Cabs can be different. So you can run like a greenback on the right and like a blue Celestion on the left, but it's the same amp. Which actually made a lot of sense when I bought it. And then the Boss, or whichever order, but I'll just talk about the ACS One because my Boss time was like very limited. The ACS One, I loved that thing because it was 2 amps. You can run a AC30 on the left or right, a Fender on the left or right, and then a totally separate cab in those separately. That was awesome. That was super cool for just totally spreading the width of whatever was going on your board and in your playing. Then the ToneX came out, which is actually a capture of an amp. It's not really an IR. I can get nerdy about that, but for the sake of argument, it's just capturing how an amp sounds at a certain EQ, certain volume, and all this stuff, and the characteristics of that amp at that EQ. So what a lot of guys do is they'll flatten it out, so they'll just go, at 5 on everything, bass, middle, treble, whatever's there, and maybe they'll go real clean, so like no gain or preamp volume, or not a lot to like where there's a lot of breakup, and they'll just capture the amp, and it does this like crazy sound when it does it. It's kind of cool if you kind of look it up, look up videos of what it does. It's cool. It's worth like just seeing it one time. But that's what the ToneX does. And in all seriousness, it reminds me of a Kemper. The ToneX gave me what I didn't like about the Kemper. It took that out and amplified what I loved about the Kemper, which is I had the feel back in my fingers. Then, hang on, the XR-IRs came out, and everyone has raved about that. So I uploaded that to my ACS One. I think I played like a Sunday with it, and it was awesome. Very amp-like, very airy in my ears, like you could feel or hear the air. I thought that was cool. But I've noticed even in some of the videos, it was just a hair weirder to mix than with my captures on the ToneX. And then my front of house guy was like, he just agreed, and the broadcast dude, he kind of agreed. So that's my journey with it, but that is not saying anything bad about any of those. Go with what's friendly in your wallet. They are all good. You can make them all work. Get the ToneFactor IRs or York. York makes awesome IRs, and you can make any of those work. What else y'all got before I move on? Because I've pretty much convinced myself just to stick with what I got for now. Like right now, I'm running actually, y'all want to hear it? I'm running the DC30 and the ProSonic on the right. Now I'm going to change it to a AC30 on the left and a Fender on the right. So, well, Princeton. Has a little more bite to it. The Boss, a good DI goes a long way for these. Yep, that nailed it. Get the Pinstripe pedals. I'm super biased. I think Charlie at Pinstripe is amazing to work with, talk to. He's a very likable guy and very friendly to work with. He can literally like build you kind of whatever you want. But more often than not, he's already got whatever you want on the market. My second would be, as far as the DI goes, what was that? Well, the Walrus Canvas, that's good. I'm sure y'all have heard or you've seen that. The other one that's a little like low budget, this is actually what I was using, and it worked awesome. It was like Art Studio, something like that. The PDB Art Studio, ART Studio, something like that. be honest, is that too loud? That was like my highest gain stage, but I'm just curious. Whoa. That was really, sorry. Okay, I know I'm looking like I'm freaking out, but I just heard a really loud boom. Like something fell in here though. I heard it. Oh, it's mine. Never mind. It's a little thing I had laying up behind the chair over there. Oh, what was that one song I used to like? What was it? Ah. That's an old song. I'm blanking on it. If y'all know it, tell me. Oh, it's right there too. Ah. It's like an old, do you want, yeah. Do you want to be my girl? There's a reason why I don't sing, y'all. Come on. So I'll show you this other camera. I'm still dialing it in. That's why I'm not really using it right now, but you'll see it's like darker. I'm dialing it in. Which it looks like there's some latency with it. Which I think I could. Does that make it look? Yeah, there we go. It's getting a little better there. It was just too dark. Yeah, there's some latency going on with that. I'll work on that one. What do y'all want to talk about? I got maybe like a few more minutes in me. I have another few topics, but I just want to make sure I'm giving you all some time and space. Time and space away from your day. And you don't have much time these days, so I do not want to waste it. That's for sure. The only thing I was going to talk about, I saw a post by, it was either Asian Guitar, but anyway, it was several people all at once. It was crazy about church hurt. And I just want you to know, if you think you've had church hurt or whatever you want to call it, Are You Gonna Be My Girl by Jet? Thank you, Jet. That's what it was. I was looking for the name of the band. Thanks, Jax. Just hit me up. Just hit me up about if you feel like you're going through it. You're going through some stuff. I would never air anything out, and I would never, your business is your business, and I would keep that. But I've been around a lot of different decisions and choices and leadership changes and you name it. And I will say this, church hurt occurs all the time. It happens when no one's looking, and it also happens sometimes with absolutely no intention to hurt anyone. The first thing I like to do is look in the mirror, see like, okay, where did I go wrong? Deal with that separately. It does not exonerate whatever you think has been done. Then go verify. Spiritual abuse. Yep. Yeah. Let me. Noise. You're on something, and I think I'm about to get there. Which yeah, I guess it could be one and the same. But like church hurt is like my perception of whatever that might be. That's what I attribute as church hurt. Like, hey, I've been hurt by the church. And some people are like, I had no idea that happened, or I had no idea that decision did that to you, or whatever. I've heard that a lot. And I would just like to say the EGSource exists not just so that you can watch some videos and look at a tab or whatever. It exists so that I just want to be a ministry. This is the best way I can think of doing it. Away from the noise, like away from the work, like your full-time jobs, away from even like a church itself. If you've gone through some nasty stuff, I may have not gone through it, but I've probably seen it. Or know someone very close to me who's gone through it. I will say this, no matter what you're going through, and I've been through a lot myself, there's always something better on the other side. Spiritual abuse, I was actually going to get to this, is like, to me, it feels different. And I don't mean like feel like, the victim mentality. What I mean is like, in just my opinion, this is just Matt talking here. it's literally the taking advantage, like almost knowingly. And a little bit about me is I used to be a cop for 10 plus years, and I don't do it anymore. And that was my full-time job. And so I had to like weigh and balance like what is abuse. And I'm just telling you, most offenders know that they're abusing, whether it's in domestic, towards children, you name it. So I actually think it's the same among church leaderships and pastors. And I'm not saying it's happening in my church, but I've seen it, and I've seen certain decisions pave the way for it. And if it's not nipped right then and there, it's going to lead down to that treacherous path. And the best thing you can do is just call it out and go, hey, look, I think this is leading a certain way, whether you mean to or not. And then what I notice is then the choice is theirs. Whatever happens after that, they have to deal with consequences, whether intentional or not. But yeah, sorry for the rant, but I saw a post earlier today by a lot of the other guitarists out there, and it was like a lot of people were just like fessing up, like, hey, I've had that. I may look happy about my life and happy about where I'm at, which is true, but I've had that and I've had to deal with it. And I think I'm no exception. But luckily for me, I think I put myself in a position where I can actually, thanks to people around me, things I've seen, things I've gone through in life, I can like deal with it. And I don't mean suppress it. I don't mean like bury it. Yes, there is some of that will always happen, just from my human nature. But I try to deal with it, and it's hard. It's hard. It actually means it can get really ugly. But through the wounds, there can't not be healing without wounds. And I'm not saying that like God is this manipulative God that's like, hey, I want you to want me, so I'm just going to make sure you get wounded. That's not the case. But he does use the wounds, and that is no doubt, and we all know that. Anyways, that's my rant on that. I just want y'all to know that I'm here for you. Been through a lot, and I can attest to, I don't really think there's church hurt. What I think is, this is like super contrarian, I guess, but what I think is someone at the church did hurt you. And whether it was intentional or not, I don't think it's a representation of Christ's bride at all. Not even close. Shouldn't be, at least. Ooh, hyena with a big one, dropping a big one. All right, let me calm myself down. So here's what I hear that question as, is there's a guitarist who, for whatever reason, or whatever you want to call it, he likes his style, he likes his way of playing, and there's nothing wrong with that, but it's not fitting well. Otherwise it wouldn't even be a problem. I've had that. I've seen it. I've probably been guilty of that and may or may not have known it. I have no clue. But I've definitely heard it for sure. And here's the thing. The best thing you can do, in my opinion, is go, man, Andy does Andy really well. And find a way to channel what Andy does into serving the song, whatever that may look like. I think one of the worst things you can, and what I would like to know, Heine, is this a newer guitarist, or is this actually someone who's been around for a while? Because that to me does, in my opinion, somewhat matter. Let me know there. While I kind of go down that road, is like telling a newer guy is actually going to be easier, in my opinion, than I say older, but like someone who's been doing it for a while. Doesn't mean older as an age, but just who's been a guitarist playing for a long time. Going back to what I did before this, is like I was a cop and I was on a full-time SWAT team, and dude, it's like telling a new guy how to do something like tactically and athletically and like shooting and all stuff, like you're not breaking any habits and you're not rewiring this whole muscle memory and train of thought. But teaching someone who's or changing the way someone thinks about something, about, you know, someone who's been doing it for 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, that is harder for them. They have to like work harder to get good at that or whatever. It could be anything. Newer and younger. So to me, that's super easy. Be a Paul, let him be your Timothy. Go into it with that approach. And I know it's like really metaphor and but the best thing you do is seriously read the letters to 1st and 2nd Timothy. Those are one of my 2 favorite books just to read whenever I'm feeling like someone's like really wanting me to mentor them and I don't feel adequate. And I go read what Paul said, and there's tons of good stuff in there, dude. But it also shows you like a message of grace for this Timothy-like figure. If he's younger, I don't know what age that is, but you know, the best thing is sometimes they want someone to tell them. But if you're saying he doesn't want to do it, that's where I'd be curious what like your front of house dude or your engineers and or your worship leader saying about this as well. So have you talked to them? And then yeah, I would just like to know their opinions. They may not have a problem with it, which, you know, it's cool. Like whatever. I know a guy who does not play anything like the parts on the record and the album, and is definitely not like that worship sound for sure. But man, he does what he does well, and there's times it works. I mean, it may not be what I would do, but it works, and it works decently. So every now and then it's like a little shocking, but maybe see if he's actually trying to like latch onto you and be like a, you know, maybe he comes over to your board and looks at it. I mean, right there. Try to find a way to set the hook and just have a conversation. Just talk to him like another dude. You'd be shocked what it turns into. That's right. That's hard to kind of like remember too. That's what I'm going through right now, by the way. Is like I can keep going, but just do what you all do and do it very well for the right reasons. And it really does. You will see the first fruits of that. I promise you. He's right. Especially if he's younger than you. How old are you? Or how old is he? Roughly. You don't have to like. He might be trying to do what he knows very well because that's what he knows. And to do something new or different, take more time, more energy, more studying, practice. And you got to think, people have an ego. Ego actually protects us. It actually is a way it does a weird thing to try to like keep us safe. And he could be just trying to protect himself, you know, spiritually or like emotionally speaking. He might be walking into there actually really nervous. You never know. I'm curious about his age though, just roughly ballpark. That's what I would know, because that would change a lot about how I not even just talk to him yet, just view him and just see him for who he is and how he is. That was a really good conversation. We went from talking about Jet and are you going to be my girl to like church hurt and wounds and then dealing with like working with just other musicians. That was awesome. Dude, I'm liking these live streams. Maybe I'm just in a good mood right now. I don't know. Oh, he's 16. Okay. Yep, JP's right. I will say this. Be real though. I mean, like, find the positive and then be real about it. That's all I can say about that. No one likes, we've all been talked to in that positive way that's like, whether it's true or not, it comes off as forced or whatever. Find the positive in this dude and go after that. Tell him who he is. Tell him who God says he is. Tell him what God is teaching you about him. Tell him like the good that you see in him. The comment is like blocked. I don't know why it's and we talk. Okay. Yeah. Cool. He is a Timothy, bro. But you're 25, so you really don't need me to preach to you about that. I'm 35, but like you're in your mid 20s. You've been 16 before. That's a very confusing age. Like, just type agree if you agree with that. That's a very awkward age, both stage and age. Is he a busy player? Like, does he play busy? You know, like, that's what I see. It's either the young guys don't know what to do or they overplay. I'm just curious at this point. But yeah, JP's right, man. Yeah. Dude, we've all been there. 16, dude. He is. He thinks he's in the most important part of his life right now. You know? While the rest of us are just like trying to live our second life or whatever. You know? Like our second half or whatever. Sorry, just random memories of me being 16 and how dumb I was are like really coming to light right now. I wasn't that dumb, but looking back, I'm like, man, like, you were dumb. You were dumb. I mean, I say that because I'm 35, but I think I was actually pretty mature at 16 for my, like what was going on around me. What else y'all got? So we've talked about the ToneX One, a little bit of pedal swapping. I had a question I was going to ask about that. Church hurt, and then I had one more, but about pedal swapping real quick. If you don't want to move on, just we can keep talking about this and get in the comments. But pedal swapping, I'm curious, how do you all do pedal swapping? Meaning, I think I'm tired of this. I might move on to that. What's your go-to like strategy? How do you test it? How do you A/B it? How A/B like A/B it? How do you decide? Then of course you got to make a decision on routing and all that stuff. I'm asking this because I like my process, but it's very time consuming and very labor intensive. While y'all think about that, I am debating some songs to do. Good Plans was one. And then I forgot the other one. I have a note. I just got to find it. Good Plans, Made for More by Josh Baldwin, and The Lord Will Provide. So Good Plans, Made for More, and The Lord Will Provide. Those are all three pretty hot songs right now in the churches. So as far as being played. Yeah, man. PBC for the win. Forever. For life. PBC for life. Hashtag. I mean, I don't care what comes out. That unit is hard to beat. Anyways, good plans made for more, the Lord will provide. I'm kind of floating around between those on what to do next, and I'm going to start grinding them out. I'm actually going to I go out of town tomorrow. I'm out of town for 2 days for work, and then I'm going to hit it hard on whatever those are, whatever we decide. But I've been kind of out of the loop. I've been very, very busy at work and at home, and it's just honestly I kind of just needed a break from. I haven't even served at church. I've been going to church. I have not served at church for over a month now, which is good. It's been great for me. You have no idea. But a lot going on at home, a lot going on. Just nothing bad, just very, very busy. A lot to do at home and at work and projects and stuff. So projects at home, projects at work. Yep. Yeah, good plans. I think might be the first one I really tackle, and then made for more after that. Yeah, so now things are kind of slowing down and getting good, and just projects are getting done. I want to really get back at it. Man, there was another one I was gonna. Yeah, noise. You're right. Now, what would be cool, and I have no clue if you'd ever see this, but John at Red Rocks, you know who I'm talking about. It'd be cool if we can do something together when Red Rocks does stuff. Like when they come out with your songs. Because I've talked to you a little bit. I think you're a cool dude. And I don't know. It's just something to think about. I'm not really wanting to. I've done it. I don't want to swap pedals. I'm answering this comment. When I have, like for instance, when I just moved those two pedals that I showed earlier, when I just moved the Daily Driver and the Protein, it made me go like, man, there's got to be another way of doing this. Because I remember testing these out and just how long, and then planning where to put them, all the things. Anyways, it just made me wonder. Also, the one on the far right, kind of the black one on the very, very far right, that's the Studio Comp by Case Study. I A/B'd that and tested it and all sorts of crazy stuff. That versus a Jackson Bloom, and that's on my board for a reason. That thing is awesome. You have no idea. That is not a knock on Jackson Bloom. But anyways, that's my take on that. So it just made me look back on what I do and what my process is, and like figuring out maybe there's another way, and maybe someone on here knows another way or a better way. So not that I'm wanting to, maybe it's just like, if I do, I might try a different way that's maybe less labor intensive. I just know my process is very, very long whenever I try to make decisions like that. And then the other question I was going to ask, and I wonder if I can I don't think I can make a poll on this. Maybe I can, I just don't know how to just yet. YouVersion or Bible app by YouVersion, do you all use that? I imagine you do. If you have a phone and you're a Christian, I'm sure that you do. Which nothing beats this. Nothing. But I'm just curious about if anyone uses the Bible reading plans. I've submitted possibly creating a Bible plan for guys like us. So with us in mind, not saying that we're special or anything, but just we're different and we're like-minded. And if you have a plan, like if you actually have a regiment, that'd be awesome to know. I have mine, but it's not for every. It's just I know that from people that I've talked to, they sounds weird to say this, but like they don't like it. They like reading the Bible, but they don't like what I do when I've like offered it as a suggestion. Okay. Okay. I don't use any of them. I used to do. Okay. So actually, I think I switched my MIDI and my timeline. Otherwise I ran it just like that. But now I run it in purely song or set list mode. And so, as you know, the set list dictates the songs and the songs dictate the pages. So, yeah, that's my answer for now. But yeah, I used to do it just like you. I think I had the timeline switched, and then the rest of my MIDI stuff was the last page. Otherwise, it was the exact same as what you have right here. Sorry. Anyways, Bubble app, think about it. I would like to know if it's worth the time. And I'm sure if you're reading, you're getting fed. You don't even need me to create it, but I have some ideas. I've done a lot of like studying and just collecting a lot of thoughts and stuff and making sure it's fair enough. That's a good point. Noise. That's a really good point. My regiment when I don't know what to do is or maybe I'm in a whatever season, as they say. It's like I'll just do, and it actually works out really well in a monthly type progression, but I'll do 5 Psalms a day, 1 proverb a day. You do that for 30 days, you've read the whole 2 books. And you can just rinse and repeat. I did that for a long time. I loved it. It actually helped me memorize a lot of those passages. But this one that I'm like submitting, there's actually some in 1st and 2nd Timothy, Colossians, Ephesians, and then quite a few actually in John. So I would like to kind of maybe put some from others, but believe it or not, YouVersion has a very somewhat a specific formula on how much to do in a plan and how to write one. Like it has to be to their format, which I get, it's their app. Makes total sense. So I had to kind of work around that and figure that out. And I'm going to polish it up, edit it, figure out what I need to do, and see if it's worth putting it out there. But I think I might just go ahead and do it. I don't even know what to call it. It's just for guys like us who use our talents and try to serve through them and gaining a different perspective about like basically whose talents they really are. For lack of other words, but it's like and then like getting deep into what this actually says about that, not just what someone tells us. So yeah, let me know. Other than that, I don't have much else. I'm out of town for 2 days. I'll be back, and then I'm going to get into good plans, and then I got to edit, create all the stuff for the website for it, like all the resources for it, and then post it. So other than that, I'll leave y'all like 2 minutes for any other thoughts or questions, and I'm probably going to sign off here and leave y'all alone for the rest of the night. This has been fun, man. This has been a good one. Like really good. Good talk. What about I do have one thing. I'm sorry. Before I go, I want to ask you this. Let me find it. It was... I gotta think. Okay, so I'm on multitracks.com right now. I'm looking at the top songs, which is just how they sort what's being downloaded and stuff used by the churches. Good Plans is still definitely being used. I actually don't see Baldwin's song on here anymore. It was. The next one is The Lord Will Provide. So I'll probably do Good Plans. Well, this has been good. Really good. So I've learned a lot. I've learned my takeaways are I don't need the ToneX One. Not right now. What I have is working just fine. Pedal swapping. I don't know. If you think anything, just getting the messages on Instagram or something. Church hurt. We had a good talk on that for sure. The only thing I will say about this, Hyena, if you're still in here, about that is it's a slippery slope when I'm about to get into again, and I was about to sign off. But you don't have your sound, your team doesn't have to sound like everyone else. And maybe, just maybe, you can really use whatever he's offering and giving, and but I like it. Yeah. Okay. I don't know if you can see this because I turned out the lights. But right there, that whole shelf, it doesn't look like a lot, but they're like 3 rows deep. That whole shelf is full of pedals. Man, I got some ones there's some memories there, man. There are some memories. Y'all want to see it? Up to you. A lot of good pedals there, man. I typically don't sell right away. Every now and then I do, and it depends on what it is. So for instance, my first ACS one, I sold it as soon as I knew and I could tell there was a huge difference in the ToneX and the ACS one. So then I just rebought it, and I rebought that one used. Anyways, point is, yeah, I typically don't sell like right away. And you're right. I live with it, work with it, study it, get to know it. And then like, dude, great example is right down there in the top right, that Studio Comp Bust case. I actually struggled with that thing for a hot minute trying to get it to work. And it was just not, it was not agreeing with my playing. And I just kept tweaking knobs, and I found just the right combo. And this thing is just money. Yeah, prayer helps, dude. Clarity. I mean, I have over there, I have the Bloom sitting over there. I have a Signa Comp, a Pog, a Cali 76, a Timmy. I have a hardwired 808 or TS 808, a Super Bolt RIP, a Morning Glory. There's a lot of good ones over there. I have a Compadre over there. I don't know if y'all have ever messed with that. That one's actually, it's not bad. Oh, you'll like this. I have a sick ass over there that is actually Jono's like first one that he called the sick ass and sold ever. I used to know Jono very well. The dude who is sick ass. Or I'm sorry, Bondi. Awesome dude. And it's really, really cool to see. That I'll never get rid of that thing. That has actually a sentimental value to me. I just believe it or not, what he's making right now does surpass that. The pots and all the stuff that goes into that. Just barely. And it was enough to where it couldn't stay on my board. But I will never get rid of that. As a matter of fact, if I ever made a mini board, it would be on there. 100%. No questions asked. It does low gain stuff so well. And really, really high gain. Really well. Anyways. Yeah. I'm going to sign off. I'm going to leave you all to it, man. This has been a good one. It's been very, very cool. You all have a good night. You have a good week. If you're serving, start practicing. As always, love y'all. Keep praying, keep playing.